Hey everybody, welcome and thank you for joining me again. Oh my gosh, it's episode 42. I can't believe it. I'm so proud of myself. We have never missed a Monday. And today we are going to be talking about how to take someone's class, another instructor's class, the right way. There's a right way to do it, and there's a wrong way to do it. I thought I would start with a story, true story. This is back in my time where I was managing a group exercise program, which you probably know as of this past year, I no longer do. So I received a phone call from a frustrated and utterly flabbergasted instructor. This is a low maintenance instructor, meaning she's not someone that is quick to complain or make waves. It's kind of a fly under the radar, just do her job and do it well kind of an employee. And at the time, I was in LA. I was actually in the airport. I was at LAX and I was in between flights because, I live in Eugene. We can't go anywhere in the world without first flying through LAX or Seattle or San Francisco or Portland or Denver because it's a tiny airport. We always have to stop somewhere. I digress. I'm at LAX, about to connect to a flight. I get this flabbergasted, frustrated phone call, and my employee is like, Ellen, during my class today, this was a cycle class, another instructor came in and was wearing headphones and was doing her own thing, doing her own ride in the corner in the class. And so I had to call that instructor. Mind you, this is someone who I think actually listens to this podcast, and she received the feedback really, really well. And I only bring the story up today because it serves as a good point. Sometimes we do things because we just don't know any better. We never learned. Like it's truly out of ignorance. We don't mean any harm. We don't mean to be disrespectful. We don't mean to piss someone off. Um, we just were never taught, or it's never happened to us. Because, some of these things, like if they happen to you and you know how it feels to be on the receiving end, you would never do that to someone else. So I thought that was like a good story to start from. Let's talk about how to take an instructor's class the right way. And I'm going to start with give yourself a pat on the back. If you're taking another instructor's class, bravo. There's honestly very few better ways you can grow and improve as an instructor. That says so much about you if you're taking someone else's class. And bravo. Congrats. That's point number one today, is we should be doing that. Point number two is, do you warn the instructor? I guess warn is a harsh word. Do you let them know that you're coming to their class, or do you surprise them? And I don't have a super strong opinion here. I think there's advantages and disadvantages to doing it both ways. And really, it's about you and your relationship with that other instructor. Let me elaborate. I actually like when people spring it on me and they show up to my class and I don't know that they're coming. Sorry, I'm in my podcasting room with my Bengal cat and she's chewing on something right now. Let me move her down to the floor. Okay. So I like it when someone comes unannounced because I don't know, it gives me a chance to kind of show them like how prepared I am without knowing anyone was going to be there watching. Kind of that like we should be showing up with our A game every single time we teach. I do that. And so I certainly don't mind. I almost like it when I get to show someone that that's how I teach my normal Tuesday class or whatever. So I don't mind not being warned. I think that's kind of nice. Like, I think someone might appreciate being able to show you how great they are without notice that you're coming to their class. I also think depending on the relationship and who it is, maybe they would appreciate a heads up. or maybe they're a newer instructor or someone that might be nervous if you're coming, and it would just be nice to get a little bit of a heads up. So I'm just gonna say, use your best discretion there, play it by ear. And then also, if I'm going to this is kind of a separate sub point here. If I'm going to someone's class, like say traveling, like let's say I'm out of town and I'm going to go take a yoga class or a cycle class or something somewhere, I don't tell them that I'm an instructor. I mean, I might at the very end of class if we're talking, if we have time to connect or they ask but I I tend to like to observe instructors in their real element, like without them knowing, like, oh, there's an instructor in the house. I better step up my game. I want to see what their game is. Like, I want to see what it's like. And, you know, yeah, that's really the reason I like to keep it a little dirty little secret that I'm in the room and that I'm an instructor. All right, so let's move on to our next point. And this point has some very important subpoints as well. It's give great energy. One thing I have to remind myself when I'm taking someone's class is not to be a narcissist. Like it's not about me. And sometimes I'm so used to walking into the space, the group fitness studio, the cycle studio, whatever, the yoga studio. I'm so used to like it being this like big energy around me meeting people, me welcoming people like around me. And it's if I'm gonna be in someone else's class, like I need to tone that down. It's like about them. And I want to give great energy. And that might even be for me, like toning down my energy, being a little more subtle, a little more quiet, but give them great energy. Be helpful. Maybe like I do have the complete privilege, absolute honor of having some instructors take my classes fairly regularly. I'm so blessed, lucky, fortunate to be able to say that. And they're very helpful. Like they will turn the lights off when it's time for me to go into flow. And they know I like to dim the lights, or if like I need something or I forgot to fill my water bottle, like they're just helpful. And so that's another little tip. Be helpful, do unto others. Like if you're in someone's class, do for that instructor what you would like them to do for you if the tables were flipped. Be really disarming to them with like hype girl energy. So that just means like maybe they're a little nervous, like maybe they are feeling like they need to perform a little bit because there's an instructor in the house. And so it can really disarm them if you're like, woo, woo, like, yeah, if you are giving them some, audible feedback, some hoop hoop energy while they're starting their class, just like disarm them. Like you're here to be there. You're here to support them. You're here to work out. You're here to have fun. You're not there like arms crossed, like hypothetically, like judging them. And you can really like just in giving some hoop hoop stuff, some big smiles, some making some noises can really help to that end. And then were you ready? Don't you do it. Don't you dare be chatty during their class. And it's worthy of its own little point here because the members get excited when they see another instructor in the room. And the members get excited when they're like, oh, I get to work out next to an instructor today. And the members like love us and love instructors. So the members will tend to want to be chatty with you when you're taking someone else's class. Don't do it. Don't do it. Like I've had instructors in my class and that happens. And like oh my gosh, I just want to come unglued, especially like as I'm starting class. You know how you want that like class control? So definitely do not sabotage your teammates' class control by you being the one. No way. But it's easy to have happen. It's easy to allow it to happen. So remember, you can hoop hoop, you can be a hype girl, but zip it. Do not be chatty during that class. Okay, moving on. Follow along and don't be extra. follow their instruction and their cues. If they make a mistake and you happen to know the routine because it's like a trademark or like a prepackaged choreography kind of thing, you follow their lead even if they messed up. Don't be the one that's trying to show the class like, oh, this is how it's really supposed to be done. Don't do it. No, no. You follow their lead even if they mess up. You be a team player. Similarly, don't add, like, let's say it's a freestyle class, whatever kind of class it is, freestyle, pre-choreographed, whatever. Do not add to the move. If they're doing a bicep curl, don't add a knee balance to your bicep curl. If they're doing dumbbell swings, don't add jack feet to it just to be extra. If they're saying sit and add a gear in a cycle class and you decide to stand and start running, don't do that. It is so disrespectful. It also is like, it can appear show-offy and attention-seeking to everyone, the members, the instructor. And again, you know, do unto others. I'll tell you what, if someone does that to you, that's when you would learn like, oh, this doesn't feel good. I don't want to be that one. Don't be the one. Don't be the one. You're there to help. They're there to learn, which leads me really to my second to last point, which is ask yourself, what's something that they did that you want to adopt? What's something that they did that inspired you to be a better instructor? I promise you there's something. There might be 10 things, but at least pick one thing when you take someone's class that they did that day, something very specific that you would want to adopt. Maybe it's some verbiage, maybe it's the way they conduct themselves. Maybe it's the way they work the room. Maybe it's, so I could list 5 million things right now. I better stop. Pick one thing. Then your last point in how to take another instructor's class right is don't provide constructive feedback unless there's a couple caveats here. One, you're the boss. If you're the fitness director, that's your job. Do provide the feedback. But if you're a peer, if you're a colleague, then don't offer up the feedback unless you're asked. Now, that being said, you should be asked, and I'll get to that in a second. They should be asking you. I'm going to get to that. But it doesn't feel good to just have a peer, someone like on your level, ask for, offer unsolicited feedback. It tends to put us a little more on the defensive. So give us a chance to ask for it, as we should. And then, you know, of course, throw in something positive. You don't have to do that CRC sandwich, you know, that like commend, recommend, commend thing, that like formula, like that's old. That is an old formula, and people see it coming a mile away. And the second you start giving them a compliment, they're like bracing themselves for the criticism, the constructive stuff in the middle. So just genuinely have some great stuff to say about them. And maybe that thing that you walked away, that you decided you wanted to be inspired by or adopt in your classes, maybe have that on the ready to provide as you're like, this is something that you did today that I really want to adopt in my classes. Hopefully at this point, they ask you if you have any feedback. And then if you had something constructive, this would be the time to offer it. Okay, I'm going to flip the script real quick as I conclude this episode. Let's flip it all the way on its head and pretend that it is your class that the instructor is taking. Instead of like how to be the best student in someone else's class as an instructor, now you're the instructor and you have another instructor in your class. What's your etiquette? What are your rules? What are your best practices? Okay. One, don't be proud. Even if you're an OG, Even if you have 10 years, 20 years experience on this instructor, ask them for their feedback. Ask them what they liked. Ask them if they had any suggestions. Like, just ask. You don't even have to agree with them, but we can always learn and grow from one another. So even if you're the senior, the more senior instructor, the more veteran instructor, ask them for feedback. Ask what they liked. Ask if they had any suggestions. Pick their brain. Also, shout them out and promote their class. Same thing goes if you have like a personal trainer in your class, shout them out. Let everyone in the room know that you have a personal trainer in the room and, this is what they specialize in, Olympic lifts or recovery or whatever. And then if you have an instructor in your room, I always announce their classes. Like, hey, so-and-so is here today in my class. Just so you know, she teaches yoga at 9 a.m. on Monday mornings. What a perfect compliment to this class. Or this is so-and-so, whatever. I make sure I'm supporting, shouting out, giving some love to that instructor that took the time to come to my class. So, all right, ready? I'm going to wrap this up with a confession and a call to action that are somewhat related. My confession is I am not taking enough people's classes right now. I do have the privilege of working with a lot of instructors, reviewing a lot of film and video, working with master trainers. I just was able to watch our top master trainer of the year, Angel Balance, teach 30 minutes of warrior strength in Dallas last week. And so that was fun. But me, plopping my butt into someone's class during my normal week, it's been a minute. So that's my confession, is it's an area that I need to step it up. Because like I said earlier, it's a powerful way for us to grow and develop ourselves. And so my call to action is I should take a dose of my own medicine here, is take a class. Take someone's class, follow these rules, be a help, maybe let them know you're coming, maybe don't. Be disarming, don't be chatty. Follow their along. Even if they mess up, follow along. Don't add to the moves, all that stuff. Okay, guys, thank you for joining me for this quick little episode. Please follow us on social. We have an Instagram account, Confessions of a GroupX Instructor. Please share, comment. I'm actually looking for content. Like, if you are someone that likes to make reels on Instagram, if you make some reels that relate to leveling up as a group fitness instructor, please tag the account and shoot us a collaboration request. The heart behind Confessions of a GroupX Instructor podcast is to help this beautiful, amazing community grow. And so if you have something educational or humorous or whatever, please send your collabs our way. Also, thank you for the reviews and for rating the show. Episode 42 is in the bag. Bye, everybody.